of luck.
What, ma'am?
And wish you luck.
Good. Go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. 13-month-old. Here I'm here to present a malnutrition case. This is a 13-month-old girl child, Sujita, second born to non-consanguineous parents, who is native of Bihar, now currently residing at Annur, Coimbatore for past 2 years. Informant being mother, whose reliability is fair. There's barrier in the language issues.
Okay.
And brought with complaints of not gaining weight, not gaining adequate weight for past 2 months, with complaints of loose stools for past 6 days, and reduced urine output for past 1 day.
Continue.
Child was apparently normal 2 months back as per mother's history. Mother noticed that child was not gaining weight like other children of same age group. At 11 months of age, child had fever, vomiting, and loose stools, which lasted for 3 days. Which was treated on OP basis with ORS and oral medications. Now admitted with complaints of loose stools for past 6 days, which was 6 to 7 episodes per day, watery in consistency and yellow in color, large quantity, not stained with blood or mucus, not foul smelling or not frothy, does not stick to pan, not related to feed. History of reduced urine output for past 1 day. Frequency in pre-illness, child passed more than 8 episodes of urine per day. Now passed only 3 to 4 episodes. And last passed urine was 8 hours ago. No history of cry during menstruation, incessant cry or dribbling of urine.
Okay.
During the illness,
No.
child takes only
Stop
breastfeed.
here. Stop here. So it is a watery diarrhea. Which
Yes,
type
ma'am.
of diarrhea you are expecting here? What are the types of watery diarrhea? It is not a bloody or invasive diarrhea. It is a watery. So what
Yes,
are the types and what do you expect here?
Secretory diarrhea or osmotic diarrhea, ma'am.
Good. Which one?
This is, ma'am.
Which one?
This is most probably secretory diarrhea due to this is large in quantity and does not related to feed.
Okay. And when the child is not fed, maybe in the night when the baby is sleeping, there is diarrhea.
Mother doesn't. I didn't ask that.
In osmotic diarrhea, it is related to food intake. And
Yes, ma'am. It will be in diarrhea will be not there in the fasting period.
Frothy, acidic, perianal excoriation, these are the things we expect. And when mother is stopping feeding, when baby is sleeping, there is no diarrhea. But in secretory, it may be there. So you should have brought out that here, that is in relation to food intake, and when the baby is sleeping or when rest is given to the bowel, what happens? Okay, secretory diarrhea you are thinking, which is by far more common.
Ma'am, I didn't hear you, ma'am.
Which diarrhea is more common, osmotic or secretory?
Secretory is more common because infection is more common in our country.
No. Osmotic diarrhea is more common. Even rotavirus produces osmotic diarrhea. Secretory diarrhea is because of the toxin mediators. That is enterotoxigenic E. coli, cholera, etc. It comes sometimes, but the more common will be the osmotic diarrhea.
Yes, ma'am.
And even some lactose intolerance, everything will be osmotic diarrhea. That is more common with malnutrition. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
During the illness, child takes only breastfeeds and drinks water eagerly. Not interested in eating solid foods. No history of refusal of feeds, vomiting or fever. No history of passing worms in stool. No history of perianal excoriation. No history of abdomen distension or lethargy or seizures.
Okay.
No history of greasy or bulky stools suggestive of malabsorption. No history of regurgitation of feeds suggestive of gastroesophageal reflux disease. No history of recurrent respiratory tract infection, sacral cycle or forehead sweating suggestive of congestive cardiac failure. No history of cyanosis suggestive of cyanotic congenital heart disease. No history of polyuria, polydipsia suggestive of diabetes insipidus or diabetes mellitus or RTA. No history of abnormal order of urine suggestive of aminohistopaths. No history of skin rash, oral ulcers or ear discharge or prolonged fever suggestive of immunodeficiency. And no history of pica.
So because this is a case of malnutrition, you are justified in putting all these negative things.
Yes,
Where
ma'am.
will you triage this baby according to IMNCI?
Ma'am,
Where will you triage this baby according to IMNCI?
Ma'am, Sam with the complicated Sam is in pink, uncomplicated Sam is in yellow, ma'am.
Excellent. Otherwise, because the baby can drink, the baby is accepting fluids. So drinking eagerly or accepting so some dehydration only. But you are very right. Sam is there. That is a danger sign. So we
Yes.
should triage this baby into the pink zone. Okay. Continue.
No history of visual disturbances like photophobia, no history of bleeding manifestations, no history of bony deformities or delayed dentition, no history of progressive pallor, no history of weakness of limbs or increased pigmentation, no history of recurrent infections or poor wound healing, no history of delayed or regressions in developmental milestones.
Okay. Continue.
Treatment history. With the above complaints, child was taken to Annur GH and from there referred to CMCH, which was admitted and treated with IV fluids and ORS and IV medications. Mother was told that child was undernourished and having acute infection. After 1 day of hospitalization, frequency of loose stools reduced and child was passing urine adequately and taking feeds well.
What IV fluids would have been given? What was the indication for IV? Suppose you are the treating doctor in this baby.
If the child is in child is received in shock, a child may be treated with off DNS or oral with 5% dextrose.
Your history was not suggestive of that, no?
Yes, ma'am.
So usually,
if child is in some dehydration
or oral fluids here in SAM.
In SAM and dehydration, we should treat with oral fluids, ma'am. If the child is not taking feeds or persistent vomiting, we should treat with IV fluids.
Persistent vomiting, abdominal distension, suspected intussusception, suspected intestinal obstruction. All those cases you can give IV fluids. Otherwise, you can hydrate orally this way.
Yes,
okay. Go ahead.
Past history. History of acute gastroenteritis, 4 episodes during infantile period, during 2nd month, 5th month, 7th month, and 11th month. Each episode lasts for 3 to 7 days. It was treated as OP. History of upper respiratory tract infection 4 to 5 times during infantile period. No history of previous hospitalization. No history of high fever, maculopapular rash, and history suggestive of phenanthem or conjunctivitis or cough. No history suggestive of chronic systemic illnesses like congenital heart disease or chronic kidney disease or tuberculosis.
What is the preferred term? Is it gastroenteritis or something?
Ma'am?
Which is the preferred term? Acute gastroenteritis or something
else? Acute diarrheal disease.
Diarrheal disease. Because now the understanding is that there is hardly any gastritis. They vomit because of acidosis, electrolyte imbalance, and no other bacteria or virus other than H. pylori can get into your upper gut and infect there, no? Sit there. So the preferred term is there. So how many episodes this baby had?
This is 4 episodes, now the 5th episode.
This is the 5th episode. And respiratory tract infection 5 times. Okay.
5 times.
So what is your comment about that?
Respiratory tract infection 4 to 5 times, upper respiratory infection not requiring hospitalization is not a significant, ma'am.
But putting these two together, what will you think of?
Immunodeficiency, ma'am.
Which immunodeficiency?
During infantile period, severe combined immunodeficiency.
Severe combined in this baby, surviving up to 13 months without a bone marrow transplantation. Not severe combined.
Secondary immunodeficiencies.
What is, others can also type your answers. What is protecting your surface tract, the GIT and the respiratory tract? You are inhaling and ingesting pathogens day by day. And what is protecting you there?
Secretory IgA.
Very good. So secretory IgA, that is when there is a IgA deficiency. That is said to be the most common isolated deficiency, isn't it? And yes. Sometimes it may be because of delayed maturation also. It can come later on. And what is NAIDS? NAIDS. What is
Neonatal,
Anybody can type? NAIDS, what is NAIDS?
Nutritional
Nut-
acquired immunodeficiency.
Nutritionally acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. That is the #1 cause. And it is just like HIV/AIDS, isn't it? The baby is having so much of infections, diarrhea, oral thrush, all these things will come. So malnutrition may be the cause for that. And the protector may be the breastfeeding. But how effective is the breastfeeding? We will see later. Next, Dr. Piyush Gupta, sir.
I have a few queries. Dr. Azharuddin, you have written history of upper RTI 4 to 5 times during infancy. And
Yes,
then
sir.
in the 4th point, you are writing there is no history of cough or coryza in the past. So aren't they contradictory?
That is, I think,
Sir,
measles history.
Sir, cough or coryza associated with high fever and rash is not there, sir. Suggestive of measles.
Measles.
Okay. Then I have another issue that when you say history of acute gastroenteritis, that means this child has been having repeated gastrointestinal infection in last 1 year. So
Yes,
is
sir.
this a part of past history or is this a present history? Because I would include, or I would like to include it in the present history. This is not past history. Actually, this child is not sick for 2 months. When you said the child is not gaining weight for 2 months. So I don't get any idea why the child is not gaining weight. I thought the child is absolutely well 2 months before, but it is not the case.
Yeah.
Your present history should have been repeated episodes of acute diarrheal illnesses or 4 to 5 diarrheal illnesses in last 7 or 8 months. And then for last 2 months, the child is not gaining weight. Then it would have made sense that this is a child who is somewhat immunocompromised, whatever, maybe because of low weight, maybe because of poor feeding, whatever. And the child is also having repeated infections. Maybe the hygiene is also not good. The feeding is not good. And that is one of the reason or the main reason this child is now noticed that the child is not gaining weight. It is not that the child has suddenly stopped gaining weight, but this must have begun in the very beginning. And that will be evident when you will be presenting your anthropometry, because then you will know that it is not only a 2 months deficit in the weight and height. It is a prolonged deficit must be there in the weight and height. So that is what my comment would be. Madam
This is a continuum of disease, recurrent diarrhea since beyond newborn period. The baby is having diarrhea, respiratory infection. Then during the measles immunization or so, somebody noticed and told them that the baby is not gaining weight. So this could have been presented as one disease. There is a continuum of disease. And then only we can know that. Okay, go ahead.
Antenatal history. Mother was married at 18 years of age. This is the second child. The first pregnancy conceived after 2 months of marriage. No history of gestational diabetes mellitus or hypertension or hypothyroidism or anemia. Antenatal scans were said to be normal. Spontaneous labor pain and a baby born by full-term normal vaginal delivery. Male baby was born with a birth weight of 2.9 kg. He was 3 years old now and alive and healthy.
That is the first child.
Yes, ma'am.
Then second child.
Second pregnancy conceived after 2 years of marriage. Inter-pregnancy interval was 1 year. Pregnancy confirmed by urine pregnancy test. Booked and immunized at Annur GH. Made 4 antenatal visits. Took iron and folic acid tablets regularly. And which was anemia complicating pregnancy treated with iron injections. No history of blood transfusions. No history of gestational hypertension or diabetes or hypothyroid or antepartum hemorrhage. Antenatal scans were normal. Anomaly scan not done. Quickening felt at the 5th month of gestation. No history of fever with rash or post-auricular painful swelling or joint pain. No history of fever or burning micturition or foul smelling liquor.
Okay. Continue.
Pre-pregnancy weight was 48 kg. Pre-pregnancy BMI was 20.23. Post-pregnancy weight was 58 kg and weight gain during pregnancy is 10 kgs, which was adequate.
So what is the importance of this pre-pregnancy BMI?
Adequate weight gain during. recommendation for weight gain during pregnancy is based on the pre-pregnancy BMI, ma'am.
Hmm.
If the BMI is less than 18.5, then the weight gain should be 14 to 20, up to 18 kgs, ma'am. If the BMI is normal, then 7 to 12 kgs adequate weight gain. Then if the mother is obese, then the weight gain should be 5 to 9 kgs is adequate.
No, this should be then 5 to 9. 9 is for obese, and how can normal be also that? Huh? She should have gained 12 or 14 kilograms. Okay, next. But birth weight was normal. So what is your comment on that? What does that tell you? What is it a surrogate marker?
Maternal malnourishment is not.
No, birth weight I am asking. Birth weight is a surrogate marker of intrauterine nutrition. 270 days, what happened? Here the inter-pregnancy interval is less. The mother had an anemia requiring injection, isn't it?
Yes,
Severe anemia only people will give intravenous infusion. So mother required intravenous infusion, and still the birth weight, we can say,
normal.
was normal, something good about it. That is 270 days, what happened? 730 days, what happened? That is the basis for their nutrition, growth, development, immunity, everything, no?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Go ahead.
Natal and postnatal history. Spontaneous labor pain at 39 weeks of gestation, baby born by full-term normal vaginal delivery in CMC, Coimbatore Medical College. Cried immediately after birth. Birth weight was 2.7 kg. Direct breastfeed initiated within 1 hour of birth, and baby was latching well. Smooth neonatal transition. No history of prelacteal feeds or feeding difficulties.
Have you done latch score anytime? Latch score?
No.
No, we should start doing it. We do Apgar score, but how much of importance we give to that for intervention or for prognosis? 1 minute Apgar, everybody writes in the case sheet. If we can do the latch score, we can help the mother. If the latch score is less than 7, they need support. And if the latch score is less than 3, they need intense support, and that lactation counselor should come in. What are the 5 points of latch score? LATCH. Anybody? L stands for latch. You said good latch was there, so we can give 2 marks. Then A is for adequate swallowing, whether you can hear it, see it, or palpate it. Whether the baby, some babies just go on making movements with the lips, but no swallowing is happening. Adequacy of swallowing. Okay. And then C is the type of nipple. Whether it is, if the nipple has a problem, we should practice areola sucking. That we have to train them. And then comfort of the mother. Is it very painful for her? Then obviously engorgement, abscess, everything will come. And then the hold. Does she need any support, or she can manage it herself? So please start recording first feed. We record urine, meconium, everything. So we have to start recording the first feed, and we have to be answerable about it. If it is not started within an hour, then only we can improve. And then latch score should be done.
Yes.
Sir?
Okay, ma'am, please proceed.
Okay, continue to the next.
Developmental history. Gross motor milestones, head control attained by 4 months of age, and rollover.
I think due to interest of time, you just tell us the summary. The baby can walk with support. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You
Walk with support and fine motor, able to hold pen and cup.
Okay.
Mature pencil graph was attained. Language, child able to speak 3 meaningful words, ma'am.
Okay. Again, you rated the baby at 1 year, around 12 months, baby is 13 months. So you think that the development is normal?
Normal, yes.
We will go to the next.
Yes.
Go to the next.
Diet history. Child was exclusively breastfed up to 3 completed months. Around 8 to 10 feeds per day, 10 to 15 minutes each time at one breast. During night time, mother give feeds on demand, only demand.
What is current understanding about it.
Feed on a yearly cues, using a yearly cues, ma'am.
We have
Not
to
on
give
demand.
responsive breastfeeding. One.
Madam, your
Response-
voice is not hearing. A lot of people are telling you have to come front.
Okay.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
So that is, we have to speak about responsive breastfeeding. And
Responsive breast.
another thing is that emptying. We have to ensure emptying and hind milk to the baby. Then only satiety will come. Then only growth will be. It will promote growth.
Yes.
Otherwise, there is a feedback inhibitor of lactation. If emptying is not happening, the milk will not, supply will be less and less.
Yes.
So, an exclusive breastfeeding. So, you must tell what are the IYCF practices that went wrong. First is, she did not practice exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months.
6 months, ma'am.
Responsive feeding, emptying, nothing was ensured. Then what happened? Next.
Cow's milk started from 4th month of life with improper dilution
And in a feeding bottle.
in a feeding
So
bottle.
she started bovine milk, and that too bottle feeding started at 4th month. That which we never recommend. No. Then what happened?
Delayed complementary feeds, ma'am.
Yeah, if that was.
That to
also-
pour in quality and quantity.
Continue. So we can
A
see how the IYCF practices had collapsed. Next.
Child preferred breastfeeding compared to solid foods.
Okay.
No extra calories were given during the period of illness. Until now, egg, non-veg diet or green leafy vegetables are not given to the child. Fresh fruits, mashed banana was given to the child from 9th month. No other fresh foods were given.
Suppose the family is vegetarian, we cannot blame them, no, for not starting egg or non-vegetarian diet. We should be focusing on what is the protein, adequacy of protein. Cereal-based or some cereal-based or millet-based diet is given, but the pulses are not added. Okay,
Yes.
that you can see.
Yes.
Continue.
This is the pre-illness 24-hour dietary recall, in which, in addition with breastfed, mother gave biscuits, banana, and rice in the lunch during lunch, and idli or chapati during night dinner, and gives cow's milk twice per day, which comes around 630 kilocalories per day against 1110 kilocalories as per ICMR 2020. Which is a 43% deficit in calories, and child takes 11.1 gram of protein, gram per liter of protein, which against 12.5 grams, which is 13% deficit in protein.
So
And also probably,
what is your comment about the protein? Is it adequate for this baby? Will this be utilized for bodybuilding? Amino acids and nitrogen is said to be a growth nutrient. No, we have
Yes.
functional nutrients and growth nutrients.
and growth nutrients.
So whether this is sufficient, whether this is sufficient, what is your comment? Will this be utilized for bodybuilding? Anybody? This will not be utilized for bodybuilding because there is a huge energy gap. And 1 gram of protein will be wasted as energy. How much energy they will get from 1 gram of protein?
4 kilocalories.
4. So even if the baby burns all the 12 gram for energy, that will be only how much energy? 12 into
40.
4.
40. Yes.
Isn't it? So we
Yes, ma'am.
cannot say this is, you must say by numbers it is adequate, but it is not contributing to any body weight gain. Okay.
Yes,
And is the breast milk bridging the gap?
No, this actually after breast milk is peak in volume by in 5 to 6 months of age, ma'am.
No.
It was about 500 to 8.
You know the anthropometry of this baby. So you know you can tell. Is breast milk bridging the energy and protein gap? Not. Because the
Yes.
baby is severely malnourished, isn't it?
Yes.
So in another baby, there may be small gap, but baby's anthropometry is normal. Then we can say that breast milk is probably bridging the gap. Here it is
Yes.
not that. And it is good note that you have pointed out that micronutrients may be deficient because iron-rich food or vitamin C-rich food, nothing the baby is taking. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Immunization history. Child was immunized
The
up to
baby
age,
was immunized according to national
national immunization program.
schedule. Okay, go. Go to next. Go to next.
Yeah, during first immunization, child weight gain was said to be normal, ma'am, up to 3.5 weeks. And during 10th month of immunization, mother was there noted a low weight, inadequate weight, and in a hospital they are advised for proper complementary feeding and a follow up, and they didn't follow up.
Did they do any corrective measures?
They gave only counseling, ma'am.
They gave only counseling. No addition was given. Okay, growth nutrients should have been supplied, including good quality
Yeah.
protein, amino acids, etc. Okay, go ahead.
Dr. Azharuddin, just a query. What do
ma'am.
you think? Why did the child have so many diarrheal episodes even after receiving all the doses of rotavirus vaccine? Can
Sir,
you explain?
Yes.
inadequate,
Ah,
improper nutritional practices, sir.
yeah. Hygiene part, malnutrition,
Bottle
bacterial
feeding.
overgrowth in the gut. I think during discussion we will go to that. Rotavirus diarrhea can only be prevented, but there are a lot of other viruses and bacteria. And this baby may be having IgA deficiency, nutritionally acquired immunodeficiency. Okay. And hygiene is very poor.
In normal child, rotavirus is the commonest agent. In some child, bacteria and even parasites may produce diarrheal disease.
Bacterial overgrowth will be there. And this IYCF practices would have disrupted the normal microflora. The microflora also would have been changed. That may be another reason.
Yeah, please proceed.
Family history, as non-concerned as parents, nuclear family, mother is currently pregnant, 20 weeks of gestation, having anemia, again, for which iron injections.
Another issue that you should have brought out along with the other one. Have you got an elder sibling is normal, huh? Okay. Have you got a pedigree?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So what is the socio-economic and that you are coming to? Because we have to hurry a little bit for discussion, more of diagnosis and discussion. The
elder child is coming under moderate acute malnutrition.
The elder sibling is also malnourished, no?
Moderate acute malnutrition.
Moderate acute malnutrition. But you said initially that the first child is alive and healthy. That is what I remember. So don't contradict your statements. Dr. Piyush Gupta sir was also telling, don't contradict your own statements. I think you said other way child is 3 years old and healthy.
Yes.
Ma'am is there. Okay. Moderate acute malnutrition. Go ahead.
Socioeconomic history, 4 members of the family lives in a rented pack house, 2 rooms, 2 windows, bathroom facility available outside the house, no open air defecation, uses tap water for drinking and cooking. Child was given direct tap water without boiling. Father studied till the 3rd standard, works in a factory, and mother uneducated housewife. Monthly income was...
corporation is giving drinking water, that can be taken, no? But what tap water, we don't know. Okay.
Corporation municipal water only.
If they usually chlorinate, but we usually advise them to boil. But they have resources limitations, no? And the husband, is he very supportive to the mother? You have taken something scolding and all, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Violence is also there. Okay. Now we understand what background the child is coming from. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No history of contact with the open case of tuberculosis.
Okay.
Summary: 13-month-old girl child.
Shall we summarize later? Okay. Because of interest of time, most of these things we have said. Go to examination.
Child conscious, recognizing mother, looks emaciated and euthymic.
Have you got a profile picture of the baby?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What? We'll come to that. Okay. Continue.
Pallor present, no icterus, cyanosis, clubbing, generalized lymphadenopathy, no pedal edema or dependent edema, ma'am. Mother's personal hygiene is poor with uncut nails and dirty clothes. And mother cares baby with love and affection. Ma'am. Breastfeeding technique was appropriate, but preparation of milk, cow's milk was improper technique. Ma'am. And with poor sanitation method. While feeding semi-solids, mother not encouraging child. If the child refuses once, mother stops feeding and starts breastfeeding.
So that is also called responsive feeding, no? Even the
Yes.
complementary feeding should be very responsive, but here it is not so. Next. The baby's profile, what do you see?
Sunken eyes with the hairs very thin, sparse, thin, lusterless.
Lusterless.
Cheek is normal, ma'am,
Hmm?
not hollow.
No more.
No hollowing cheek.
Buccal part of fat is preserved. Agree.
Preserved.
Next.
Vitals, temperature is
And baby
98.60.
looks pale. That you have already observed. Baby looks pale.
Any comment on the hair of the child?
That he said.
Thin, lusterless, sparse,
Straight.
Okay,
straight.
okay, please.
The heart rate is 116 per minute, regular in rhythm, normal volume, no specific character, all palpable peripheral pulses felt, no radiofemoral delay, respiratory rate 32 per minute, workup breathing normal, capillary refill time less than 3 seconds, blood pressure 90/60 millimeter mercury in right upper limb in supine position, saturation 98% in all 4 limbs and room.
So vitals are stable. Okay.
Stable. Head to foot examination, head size normal, no craniotabes, no frontal bossing. Anterior frontal 1 into 1 centimeter sunken, posterior frontal closed. Hair sparse, thin, brown in color, lusterless, no areas of.
Looking at the child's profile, did you think that there is a frontal bossing? Go back to that picture. Srinivasan sir has also pointed out that. Child's picture.
The head appears large
Hmm.
to the size of the baby.
Maybe.
Is it because the baby is small, or is it because there is frontal bossing? So that is needs to be ascertained, but you cannot rule out that there is no frontal bossing. The head definitely appears large, and the forehead is prominent.
Side view also shows.
Even the posterior aspect is also seen. No, the profile, lateral profile, I can see the posterior aspect is also somewhat prominent.
Like
The left side
is there, and the frontal bossing is seen. It is very prominent, no? Okay, good, sir. Go ahead. I was thinking he's going to describe that. Now he's telling no frontal. Okay. Okay. Continue.
Face, no dysmorphic faces. Eyes sunken, no eye signs of vitamin A deficiency or pallor present. Ears normal, no purulent discharge. Mouth good oral hygiene with no dental caries, gum bleeds, no gum bleeds, no angular stomatitis, chelosis or oral thrush. Dental formula 7 teeth are upper incisor and upper and lower central incisor and lateral incisor present. Tongue no glossitis, no pharyngitis or tonsillitis. Neck no significant lymphadenopathy, engorged neck pains. Chest no Harrison sulcus or no rachitic rosary. Extremities no edema, no knuckle hyperpigmentation. BCG scar seen. Nails pallor present, no deformities or no spooning of nails. Skin dry skin, no dermatosis or no impetiginous lesions or phrenoderma. Loose skin fold over axilla, groin and buttocks present. Genitals normal, no perineal excoriation. Skeletal system no bony deformities and no injury marks, bruises or contusions. Okay, so what are the skin changes that you see in malnutrition? Nutritional dermatosis, which may be hyperpigmentation with hyperpigmentation and desquamation. Sometimes ulceration may be present, and some petechia or abdomen present. And in zinc deficiency, flaky pain dermatosis. Flaky pain dermatosis. Flaky pain dermatosis. So you have finished your general examination? Yes, ma'am. But something is missing. What is missing? What is missing? This is a child with a large volume watery diarrhea. But have you mentioned about anterior fontanelle tension? Is it depressed? Ma'am, I mentioned in anterior fontanelle is during. Open, you said, but
But you didn't say the tension, whether it is depressed. Anterior fontanelle, we start there, no? Anterior fontanelle is depressed. What about skin turgor? When are you going to test that? These are two important signs of dehydration. Tongue is dry, thirst is increased, AF is depressed or not, and skin turgor. That you should have said. Okay, continue.
Anthropometry shows weight for age is 6 kg against expected 9.5 kg, which comes under less than -3 standard deviation Z score, and which is severely underweight. And length for age is 71 centimeter against expected 75 centimeter, which comes between 0 to -2 Z score, which is normal. And weight for length is 6 kg against 8.4 kg, which comes under less than -3 Z score, severe acute malnutrition. And head circumference is 44 centimeter, which is normal. And mid-arm circumference is 11 centimeter against 14 centimeter, which is less than -3 standard deviation and severe acute malnutrition.
So what is your final comment?
Child is stunting is not, the length is normal and head circumference is normal. So malnutrition might be acute, not so chronic.
But the baby's age is very young, no? And there is the sunshine of breast milk going on. If she had abruptly stopped that, we would have expected more stunting. And
Yes.
as age advances, more stunting will come. Okay.
Yes.
The growth charts you have? Interpret that. Continue. No, you speak what you are projecting.
WHO growth chart, only 2 weight is measured, ma'am, in at birth and now, ma'am. No other documented weights.
So
In this,
has the
it
baby
crosses two.
down- has the baby down crossed major?
Yes, ma'am. So it crosses 2 major centile lines, ma'am.
Which one?
So it is obviously failure to thrive.
15th, 3rd, and 1st. The baby
First,
is
yes.
down crossed. 2 major
Yes, ma'am.
centiles, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Next.
And the weight for height comes under less than -3 standard deviation, ma'am.
So in
Minus
the
3.
start, where is it starting? The starting length. What is the starting length for the weight for length chart? Anybody? Where does it start?
45, ma'am. 45. Yes, ma'am.
That has got a bearing in the diagnosis. We discussed that because in 0 to 6 months SAM, they say that if the length is less than 45 centimeters, visible wasting can be taken because we don't have any standard for to say that this is below -3 or -2, etc. Okay,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
continue. What was the weight at 10 months? Then only they noticed what they would have known that.
That was not documented, ma'am.
Okay.
That mother didn't know the weight.
Go ahead. Continue.
Developmental assessment. Gross mother child can sit alone for 10 months, 10 minutes.
In the interest of time, this is not delayed. So where do you rate the baby? Developmental quotient. Where do you rate the baby?
Yes, ma'am. Gross motor is 96% and fine motor is 92%, speech and language 96% and social and adaptive 82%, ma'am.
Is the baby having social smile?
Yes, ma'am.
Any regression of social smile?
Initially, social smile was not there, but after 2 days, social smile returned, ma'am.
So that you should have brought out. You are telling everything is perfect. But there was loss of social smile. Now social smile has come back after treatment. That is a good positive sign, no? There may be a transient arrest of certain milestones. Even which milestone is more affected in malnutrition? Gross motor, fine motor, language, or social?
Gross motor.
Gross motor. Okay. Continue. That you should have said that social smile was regressed.
Examination of abdomen, inspections.
I think
Shape of
abdominal examination is normal. I think you can go ahead. Move ahead. Okay.
other system examination also normal, sir.
So what do you expect in
Bone
the
is
abdomen?
normal.
What do you expect in the abdomen?
If hepatomegaly is present, we should suspect that Kwashiorkor,
Fatty liver.
even fatty liver.
Fatty liver. Fatty liver is the one that you will suspect. Okay.
And CT scan, even in hypoalbuminemia, CT scan.
That is the last stage of edematous ham. What do you expect in CVS?
Microcardium in
Very
some
good. Or cardiomegaly.
volume
Nutritional-
overload failure.
Nutritional cardiomyopathy. What all micronutrients can produce nutritional cardiomyopathy?
Selenium,
Hmm.
B1 thiamine,
Thiamine, iron.
iron.
Now people say even vitamin D deficiency. Okay. What do you expect in respiratory system?
In recurrent infections, crepitations.
There can be miliary tuberculosis, pneumonia without any fast breathing. So
Yes.
auscultatory findings may be there, but fast
Yes.
breathing, fever, etc. may not be there because the baby is going with a reductive
Immune
adaptation, isn't it? What do you
Yes.
expect in CNS?
Hypotonia, lethargy, apathy, irritable.
Yes,
Tone may be reduced and bulk reduced.
Even severe anemia, you can even get brisk reflexes. They say pyramidal tract is very vulnerable to anemia. Continue.
Yes.
Continue.
Summary.
Hmm.
13-month-old girl child born to non-consanguineous parents, birth order 2, birth spacing 1 year, currently mother pregnant 20 weeks, recurring injection iron during antenatal period, belonging to upper lower class, with history of recurrent diarrhea during infantile period, and exclusive breastfeed only for 3 months, and yearly bottle feeding with cow's milk from 4th month, and delayed and improper complementary feeding from 8th month only. And with calories, protein, and micronutrient deficient diet, immunized for age with no developmental delay.
Would you like to qualify that? Had regression of social smile even, no? Milestones were normal, but there was a arrest
Regression.
of the milestone and it has come back on treatment.
And examination, signs of malnutrition present with anthropometry shows 63% of expected weight for age, and metaparam circumference less than 11.5 centimeter with height normal. Developmental assessment, the probably case of severe acute malnutrition, grade 2 according to IAP classification, and underweight by Wellcome Trust classification, severely underweight and severely wasted according to WHO classification, with acute diarrheal disease with some dehydration, moderate anemia and micronutrient deficiency, etiology being nutritional due to faulty feeding practices and poor socioeconomic status.
Would you like to refine this diagnosis? So which label will fit for this child? There are a lot of antenatal adverse events, isn't it? Maternal factors are there for the malnutrition, isn't it? Birth
Yes,
spacing, then mother is again pregnant, she had anemia. So maternal factors are there. And then is this a case of failure to thrive?
Yes.
So that you should put like we say PUO, immunodeficiency. Before sorting out into that, the label for this child will be this is a case of failure to thrive. And what is biopsychosocial? Where will you put it? What is the cause for the failure to thrive for this baby? Baby has down cross major syndicts.
In all fits, in everything biological, environmental, and psychosocial, it's a multifactorial.
Yeah, it is better to put it as multifactorial because we have not ruled out any organic or biological causes in this child for the diarrhea, like immunodeficiency or a malabsorption. We have not ruled out. So at this juncture, it is better to say that this is a biopsychosocial or a mixed type of failure to thrive. And then you must say that this child is severely underweight. Okay. And this Wellcome Trust classification, everything is now gone. because now we go by the IAP, the Z score, severely
Yes.
underweight, severely wasted,
Best.
and clinically presenting as SAM. What are the criteria to say that this is SAM?
Weight for length should be less than 70% of expected weight, or less than -3 Z score, with the mid upper arm circumference less than 11.5 centimeter, with a bilateral pitting pedal edema.
It is not with, it is
Or-
or and or.
Or,
Even one
under.
criteria is enough. Huh? Then you must say about the diet.
Age group is 6 months to 59 months, ma'am.
Hmm.
Less than 6 months, mid upper arm circumference is not taken into account. Bilateral pitting pedal edema with unknown etiology is enough for to name it as.
It is not with, it is and or.
Yes,
Sir,
under.
please put the sir, the diagnosis.
Right, ma'am. Going.
So
Nothing
we
to add.
can put it as I would like to put it as a recurrent diarrhea and recurrent respiratory tract infections also. And multiple micronutrient deficiencies. What all deficiencies you have, you are thinking of in this baby?
Ma'am, iron
Eh?
deficiency.
Huh.
With copper, hair is hypopigmented, so maybe copper
Hmm.
deficiency.
Copper, manganese, anemia is there. Then skin, biotin, protein deficiency, isn't it? So
Yes.
multiple micronutrient, and perhaps there may be vitamin D deficiency because the bossing we are seeing, isn't it? Okay. Any differential diagnosis you want to put for this baby? What is the differential diagnosis you want to put for this baby?
Madam said rickets with the PM. So, do you agree with that age-old dictum that rickets does not occur in SAM because
can,
the bone is not growing? Is that true or not?
Sir, rickets usually occurs in growing bone, but it can occur in SAM also.
Now you see, we did a study, and just to apprise
Yeah.
you, we found that 50%, 42% rather to be precise, of children with severe acute malnutrition were having features of rickets.
Yes.
The rachitic changes can be there, or even osteopenia will be there. Osteomalacia can be there. It may not be everything as like what you textbook description. There can be vitamin D deficiency. Okay. Then any differential diagnosis, anybody in this baby? No differential diagnosis?
Would you like to
Immunodeficiency.
rule out? Yeah.
Immunodeficiency.
Is it primary or acquired?
Acquired immunodeficiency.
What is that?
Acquired is HIV.
You are thinking of HIV. You can think of that. You can do the investigation also. Okay. Can it be primary? We have already discussed that.
IgA, isolated IgA deficiency.
Isolated IgA deficiency or a common variable, not that severe combined immunodeficiency. Some minor varieties of that we can think of. And HIV, what is the hallmark of HIV? What is the hallmark of HIV? Fungus infection, oral thrush, mucocutaneous candidiasis, T cell deficit. This baby is not, you in your history or looking at the baby, we could not see that. So perhaps I will rate IgA deficiency or common variable immunodeficiency as the primary immunodeficiency. Anyway, this baby qualifies for investigating for that. Then any other disease, genetic disease in this baby?
Cystic fibrosis.
Very good. Because there is respiratory as well as diarrheal disease. So you have to think of cystic fibrosis in this baby. Any other? Yes, he mentioned no passing of worms.
Yes.
Which are the parasites that can give rise to parasites or helminths that can give rise to diarrhea?
Giardia.
Giardia, good. Hmm? Bloody diarrhea, any parasite can give. It is whipworm colitis. Whipworm colitis from a very low socioeconomic status. Tropical sprue, cytomegalovirus. It may not be symptomatic in an immunocompetent host, but in an immunodeficient host, cytomegalovirus.
Yes.
Okay, what are the other causes for the recurrent diarrhea? The respiratory infection, at least we can say the baby did not need any admission. They were all URI, you can see.
Dr. Azruddin, could it be malabsorption?
Yeah, that is what I am asking. What are the causes for the diarrhea? Now you discuss the diarrhea part. Cystic fibrosis is one.
Sir, malabsorption usually presents with osmotic diarrhea with perianal excoriation.
What do you have in anthropometry that points against the possibility of a malabsorption?
Stunting is not there.
Yeah, you
Height
see
is
the length is normal.
not.
The length is almost normal. It's so there has to be definitely, if there is a malabsorption and it is leading to this issue, then there has to be stunting associated. So that is one major point which is against chronic nutrient loss and malabsorption.
Which malabsorption can present just with anemia without even growth retardation? Is there anything? The dictum is usually they will have voracious appetite, they will have stunting. Yeah, Fatima has written celiac. Celiac
Yes.
sometimes may be like this. But this baby's story is not fitting into that. She didn't start any wheat preparation and at that time it started. Otherwise, celiac can manifest in all these ways. Okay, then what else? What else? There can be small intestinal bacterial overgrowth because of malnutrition. That can cause secretory diarrhea that may be producing toxins. Then prolonged small intestinal mucosal injury can be there. Some of the congenital diarrheas are there. What are the congenital diarrheas and enteropathies? Can you tell any example?
Inflammatory, ulcerative colitis, inflammatory bowel disease.
Congenital. Chloride diarrhea. Fatima has written chloride diarrhea, congenital lactose intolerance, isn't it? There can be glucose galactose malabsorption, but that will be very severe, protracted diarrhea syndrome of infancy, we call it.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
So how will you manage this child, Azruddin? Now you tell us.
Investigation and treatment.
Sir, I'll admit the child. I'll receive the baby in a warm bed or with a double clothing to prevent hypothermia and secure a IV line.
Why do you think you want to admit the child and it cannot be managed at home?
Sir, child is having SAM with some dehydration, sir. So it is a complicated SAM. So need to admit.
The reason for complication is only some dehydration? Wherever in SAM there is diarrhea, we presume there is some dehydration. Okay, because you cannot demonstrate some dehydration. You can only demonstrate severe dehydration in a child with SAM. So some to it's already there. So any child with diarrhea, that means you will need to. So that is one, the child is having an acute infection. So that is one reason for getting the child to admit. What about the appetite of the child? Usually you do an appetite test to decide whether the child is to be admitted to a facility or child can be managed at the nutrition rehabilitation center. But here, if we are not doing appetite test, we rely on the mother. What does she say, how the child is eating or not?
Taking breast milk and water, fluid, but not interested in taking solids. That's some statement that you made, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that's the reason you should give, that the child is not interested in taking solids, and that's why we definitely need to hospitalize the child, because at home there will be a problem of even if you give food, proper food, the child is not going to accept. Fine.
Yes.
Okay. So you will hospitalize the child. Next.
I'll send a warmer or a warm bed with a secure IV line. With
IV
taking
line?
samples for blood investigations and blood sugars.
IV line for?
Sir, first dose antibiotics need to be given.
Okay. So IV line for IV fluids or something else?
Antibiotics are not for IV fluids.
Okay. Why don't we want to give IV fluids here in this child?
If the child is taking orally, we can treat only having some duration, so we can treat with modified ORS or Isomux.
Suppose the child is not taking orally, so and the child is not having dehydration or some dehydration, that means you will give. Will you give IV fluids in that case?
NG tube, sir. Through NG tube, we can feed the child.
So why are we avoiding intravenous fluid? So that's what I am asking. The question.
There is already total body water is increased, sir, and the intracellular sodium is very high. So there is a chance of fluid overload and hypernatremia and cardiac failure.
For a child with severe acute malnutrition, the fluid should never be pushed until and unless the child is having shock and poor pulses. Agree. Next. Okay. So you will secure an IV.
Dr. Piyush, can I add one more point?
Sir, please, sir.
Yeah, you don't mind?
Not at all. Most
in,
welcome.
Even necrotizing enterocolitis and preterm and all, early initiation of gastrointestinal feeding promotes growth of this thing and will less this thing functioning. So
Absolutely.
that is well observed. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Absolutely right.
Trophic feeds should be started. This baby is already taking some feed. Continue. How will you? I think you can continue.
I'll check the sugar.
No. Go to that slide. I have put one slide. Okay, this is FTT that we have already discussed. Continue. That
ABCDEFG approach.
yeah.
This anthropometry, biochemical.
Press your slide. So how will you apply it to this baby? So we have to do the anthropometry. Biochemical and labs are important. Clinical assessment, we got lot of clues. Dietary evaluation, how the IYCF had collapsed and what background this baby is coming from, the maternal factors, the family disharmony, everything. And the functional assessment, that is, there may be this NAIDS, that is, they are more prone, like immunodeficient child. Milestones may be delayed. There may be special sense organs which are affected. And when the growth faltering started. Okay. What is this?
This very vesiculobular eruptive lesions around the orifices.
Next slide also. Press the next slide also. That is the first child. When
child is looks well with
ABCDEF. When we applied, everything was okay. Anthropometry was okay. The diet was okay, but it was in the zinc transport defect. But the other baby died. That is, we have to apply the ABCDEF. Just for that, I put that slide. And go to the 10 steps. You were discussing that. And how to look for edema. 1001, 1002, 1003, that like that you will have to count.
Yes, ma'am.
The criteria for diagnosis of SAM, that also I think for the benefit of the so 6 months to 59 months, it is very clear to everybody. See, 1 to 5 months or 1 to 6 months, weight for length less than -3 or visible wasting if the infant's length is less than 45 centimeters. That is what I was trying to tell you when you were looking at the weight for length chart or fitting edema. And then what is MAM? Can you read that? What is MAM?
Weight for height between less than -2 standard deviation to -3 standard deviation, and our metaperum circumference is 11.5 to 12.4 centimeter, and no edema.
SAM is the tip of the iceberg. We may be seeing more cases of MAM like this. So we will have to concentrate on that, and they may be dying of pneumonia, diarrhea, etc. Okay, continue. Go to the 10 steps.
We need to check sugar mum first. If the sugar is less than 54, we need to give 50 ml of 10% dextrose through NG tube. Then the sugar is normal. If not able to check sugar also, we need to give 50 ml 10%.
This baby, you say you treat, because we have no time to discuss every step of that. You say hypoglycemia should be checked and should be addressed. If you cannot do GRBS, you assume hypoglycemia and give them anagin, isn't it? Like that
Yes.
you see. How will you address hypothermia? Dr. Piyush sir, you wanted to leave at 7 o'clock. Piyush sir,
I will leave when other thing starts. I am still here.
Okay, continue.
Hypothermia, we need to check hypothermia. We need to receive the baby in warm bed or using double clothing. If severe hypothermia is there, we need to give oxygen with the first dose antibiotics and rewarming. Dehydration, child is having some dehydration, so we need to correct with 75 ml per kg of modified ORS or Risomol using NG tube over 4 hours. They need to
take the modified ORS. We are not having the mineral mixture, but we can always give copper, zinc, magnesium, etc. separate, potassium separate. You can give. How do you make it?
One sachet of WHO low osmolality WHO ORS in 2 liters of water with 50 gram of glucose or sugar with 45 ml of oral KCl or 30 ml of injection KCl should be added.
Okay. Electrolyte.
Electrolyte disturbances, if electrolyte disturbance there, we need to correct, and potassium and magnesium to be given for next 2 weeks now. Potassium 3 to 4 milliequivalents per kg per day orally, and magnesium 0.2 to 0.3 ml per kg of 50% magnesium sulfate for 2 weeks. Along with other micronutrients like vitamin A on first day. If signs of vitamin A deficiency is there, we need to repeat it on second day and 14th day. And with the folic acid, 5 mg on first day and 1 mg on another 4 days. With the zinc, 2 mg per kg per day for 14 days. With the multivitamins and iron on starting from during a rehabilitation phase.
So your baby this baby was anemic. So suppose the hemoglobin came as 4 gram. How will you manage?
If it's less than or equal to 4 gram, even in asymptomatic, we need to transfuse 5 to 10 ml per kg of BRBC over 3 hours along with furosemide.
Which day of admission? Which day of admission?
After correcting dehydration.
Within 48 hours, if you can transfuse, you can transfuse. Otherwise, we don't. We wait for the initial phase to be over and start oral iron only, because that much PRBC even the baby may not be able to tolerate, because the edema fluid will start coming into the intravascular compartment once you admit and treat. That is there in the module. Just have a look. Okay.
And we need to give antibiotics, ampicillin and gentamicin. Ampicillin 50 mg.
That is in the IMNCI module. Are you giving that? What is FIMNCI? What is FIMNCI?
Facility-based in IMNCI, ma'am, which is a hospital unit protocols.
Unit protocol or hospital protocol. If any sick child is going to get 3rd generation cephalosporin, when we can give. Suppose the baby was going home management. There were no complications, no diarrhea. Then
we can give amoxicillin.
Oral amoxicillin is enough. So don't say fit in everything to the module. Whatever we do, none of us give ampicillin and gentamicin. If our facility has a different protocol, you can follow that. And to give vitamin A 2 lakhs, what is the cutoff? What all the baby?
1 year. More than 1 year,
and
2 lakhs. 6 months to 1 year, 1
And
lakh.
one
2
more
months to
criteria.
2 months to 6 month 50,000 international.
Yeah, that is all correct. To give
If
2
it's
lakhs,
less than 2 months, we need to give to mother. Ma'am.
yeah, that is all right. I am asking, this baby, for example, is more than 1 year. Will you give 2 lakhs? Is there
If
any
Idiba
other
is present, uh,
we can wait. In Kosharka state, we may not give it initially. We may have to wait. Otherwise, also 8 kilograms is needed. Baby is more than 1 year and more than 8 kg, then you give 2 lakhs. So this
Yes.
baby, it's better to give
6
1
kg.
lakh. Hmm?
yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Then how will you initiate feeding? And how?
Yes, ma'am. We need to initiate with a starter feed, which is F75, which is made using 30 ml of full cream milk with 5 gram with 10 gram of sugar and half teaspoon of oil up to 100 ml. We have to start initially first 2 days for 100 ml per kg, 100 ml per kg per feed to the maximum of 130 ml per kg per day. And after 2 days, second hourly 11 ml per kg per feed for second hourly, and third to fifth day we have to increase feed by 16 ml per kg per feed third hourly, and after 6 days we can step up to 22 ml per kg fourth hourly.
What is the stomach capacity of a baby?
Uh,
How many ml per kg?
50 ml per kg.
Huh? 30 ml per kg, but the SAM module says you go up to 20 or 22 ml per kg, because that is all what you can feed. There should be space for digestive juice, for churning the food, for air, etc. 30 ml per kg is the full capacity, but we feed up to 22 ml per
ml
kg.
per kg.
And in this baby with recurrent diarrhea, will you go for milk-based F75 or will you go for cereal-based?
A cereal based F70.
Yeah, that should have been your answer. Because
Yes.
when there is a recurrent diarrhea or a persistent diarrhea, we have a diet A, diet B, diet C. What is that? It usually applies to persistent diarrhea. That is low milk diet. Total of 80 ml per kg per day. Then no milk diet. Then no milk, no starch. That sort of discussion should come here. This is a recurrent diarrhea. So the baby's tolerance to the cow's milk protein and the lactose may be less. So we can go for the complex starch. That is cereal based
Cereal based F75.
F75. Okay, now the baby's appetite is good. You said the social smile has come back. Then
Can
what will you
step
do?
to F100 feed, catch up feed.
Again 130 ml per kg. So how much do we start on day 1? How much energy, how much protein? 100
100 ml,
100 kilocalories and
1.1
gram protein per kg per day. Okay, now we shift to F100. Where do we reach? 100 kilocalories and
and 3 gram
3 gram protein per kg. And at the end of the catch up
200 kilocalorie with 6 gram protein is our goal.
That is the final where you reach. Okay. In between about 6 months, what else you can give? This baby may be interested in eating, not only drinking. Once the appetite improves and his enzymes come back and the sodium potassium pump starts working, then the baby may be interested in eating. You can go for
RUSF, member, ready to use supplement.
RUTF. RUTF. Yes, sir. Dr. Piyush Gupta, sir, is asking that he wants to leave. Thank you very much, sir, for your great inputs and being with us and blessing us.
Sorry, I could not be of much help, but it was going so fantastically, and the Azharuddin has presented very well, and the madam has moderated so nicely. There was no need for me to intervene, and it has been a great learning for me as well. Please continue. I will join in some other case discussion with the Dr. Nagaraju very soon. Thank you, Dr. Nagaraju, for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
You are
Thank you.
blessed. You are blessed, sir. We are blessed. You are present, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Please carry on.
So
Thank you,
RUTF, we have the preparations. What are the RUTF preparations?
Ma'am, commercially available RTF is there, ma'am. Peanut butter with skimmed milk powder with oil.
Peanut,
We can prepare.
easy paste, etc. But the government of India said no multinationals should make money out of our malnutrition. So we are asked to make indigenous preparations. And
Yes, ma'am.
these indigenous preparations may not meet the RUTF criteria. That is 100 grams should give how much energy and how much protein?
500 kilocalorie with 15 gram of protein.
15 gram of protein. But we may be making something similar to that with cereal pulse, skimmed milk powder, MCT powder or MCT oil, etc. But that we call as RUSF. What is RUSF?
SAT mix.
Ready
SAT
to
mix
use supplementary food.
supplementary foods.
Because the RUTF is meeting all the criteria and it is also giving, it is supplemented with micronutrients. But our preparations are not having any micronutrients added. So we call it RUSF. Okay.
SAT mix
Can
with
you go to
skimmed milk powder.
and then sensory stimulation should be given, discharge policy. I have a few slides. I will just rush through that and we'll finish in under 5 minutes. Next. So, yes, there is a question that what about injectable vitamin A? Asiruddin wants to take up that answer. Suppose the eye is showing keratomalacia.
Yes, ma'am. Then we have to give
There is edema. So
injectable
I am saying I am going to wait till the edema clears. Are you justified?
No, ma'am. We need to give injectable vitamin A 5,000 international units per kg for 5 days. Then we have to give 25,000 international units per day till recovery comes.
What is the name of that preparation? What is the name of that preparation? Anybody? Anybody? Aquasol A. What does that mean?
Aquasol.
Soluble in aqua. So what is the disadvantage? It will not be stored. Okay. So once that treatment is over, we will give the storage preparation. So
Yes.
that another 6 months, this vitamin A will be remaining in the baby. And this is the age for the multi-dose vitamin A supplementation, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The iron we already said. What will happen if you give iron in the first week?
Ma'am, unbound iron will promote growth of E. coli and leads to E. coli sepsis, and it acts as free radicals and destroys cell membranes.
Yes. Next slide. Next slide. So this is the cereal based. So you should have said that because of the diarrhea, I will prefer the cereal based. And the puffed rice is the best one, which can you easily powder. Next. This is the cereal based F100. You can read it up. Next. Next. So the ready to use supplementary food. We are having a mix. Every sender has their own mix, Hyderabad mix, SAT mix, like that. It's a cereal pulse mix. We add skimmed milk powder, MCT powder, so that 100 gram may reach up to 500 kilocalories and 15 gram of protein. Next. Next. How will you say that weight gain is adequate? The child is responding well.
So at least 5 gram per kg per day should be there.
5 to 10, poor weight gain. Less than 5 is poor weight gain. We will have to reinvestigate for helminthiasis, tuberculosis, HIV, malaria, etc. And what is target weight for discharge? What is target weight for cure?
Target weight for discharge is 15% of the more than the lowest recorded weight, and cure is more than 90% of weight for height, or more than one Z score.
Next slide. Yes. Next slide. What is tick sign? Why do they have tick sign?
It is seen in a kwashiorkor. Usually in marasmus there is a steady increase in weight. In kwashiorkor there is initially loss of weight due to loss of edema, then again a stable weight gain.
That is the tick sign. So what is the discharge criteria?
Discharge criteria, edema should be resolved, no? Then child should take adequate food, and weight gain should be at least 5 gram per kg per day for 3 consecutive days, with infection and other complications to be completely treated, and child should be immunized.
Immunization should be completed. Then follow-up, how will you do follow-up? They should be entrusted to the Anganwadi or NRC, or when we are discharging from the hospital, there should be some custodian for the baby to monitor the weight and to continue the feeding, and growth monitoring should be continued, and weight should be done every week, and in every 2 weeks we can check the mid upper arm circumference, etc. Next, and monthly height gain.
Yes.
Next slide. What is nutrition recovery syndrome?
It usually occurs after 24 to 48 hours of starting feeding, due to vigorous or high dense initial feeding, high dense milk feeding, due to there is already cellular hypernatremia. If you are giving feed, there is increase in glucose amount. There is activation of sodium glucose transporter receptor. So there is all the cellular intracellular sodium will come out and causes increased fluid intake. Fluid intracellular volume will be increased and results in cardiac failure. It is manifested with hypophosphatemia, hypomagnesemia, and hypokalemia due to activation of ATP, increased ATP generations, along with hypernatremia, thiamine deficiency, and hyperglycemia.
Previously, we were starting 3 to 4 grams per kg of protein and 200 kilocalories on day 1. And we used to give blood transfusion, repeated blood transfusion, and that used to kill the babies. Okay. How will you know there is fluid overload? What are the clinical signs of fluid overload? Anybody?
Increase in respiratory rate.
Respiratory rate.
Heart rate more than 25 and respiratory rate more than 5 from the baseline.
Liver size is increasing. Yes. There may be grunting respiration. Okay, so we know that fluid overload is there. What is the next slide? So this we are not seeing this slide. And one thing I want to tell you that the ICMR has put up the tolerable upper limits. See, vitamin D, everybody you may be taking every weekly 60K, etc. See the last column, 40,000 IU per day. That means for a month, if you are normal person, you need only two sachets. Don't take every week. The tolerable upper limit has been put. And look at iron. They have reduced it to 45. Folate is 1 milligram, 1000 microgram. Next slide. But just that because the company person is producing 5 milligram, we are all taking 5 milligram. It can aggravate your B12 deficiency. And when you say about the bedside calculation, 1 year 1000, second year we add 200 calories. Why? Because there is so much of height gain during that period, and that is part of the first 1000 window period, isn't it? First 1000 days. Then every 100, many students say 100 should be added, but in the first 1 to second year, 200 is added. Next. ICMR has recently put up all these things, estimated average requirement that will cover only 50% of the population. But RDA is kept plus 2 standard deviation, it will cover 90% of the population. Then comes the tolerable upper limit, then no adverse events level and low observed adverse events level. I think that is the last slide. So thank you very much, Dr. Asruddin, for very nicely preparing the case and answering all the things, and Srinivasan sir, Nagaraju sir, and all others who have given the inputs, and Dr. Piyush Gupta's presence really made this a real blessing for us. Thank you very much.
And Dr. Asruddin, you stop the slides.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We heard it from the authority.
Asruddin, stop sharing, please.
Thank you, Dr. Elizabeth. Excellent presentation. Excellent moderation.
Excellent, ma'am.
I think it is I think it is one of the wonderful presentation today. Both of cases are wonderfully. I think students are much benefited. I feel that. I think in fact we are benefited. Forget about students also. We are very much benefited. What we learned long
I am
back.
benefited. Though I have
Oh,
been
sir,
listening
sir
to,
itself is
I have been listening to Elizabeth every lecture and every class. Still, I am
you are the encyclopedia, Nelson, in your
Most avid
brain.
learner of the group is Srinivasan sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Unlearning is the most difficult task.
Yeah. Unlearning, learning.